Now we have with us Dr. Ketan Desai, who is not only an MD, he's a PhD, he's into research, he's an author, he's an entrepreneur, and much more. So let us talk to him. Welcome, Dr. Ketan Desai.
Hello, everybody.
Uh, you have you're doing so many things all at one time. You have written a novel for children. You have done you are a doctor, you're an immunologist and rheumatologist. Then
Yes.
you have started three companies of your own, biotech companies. Then you're into research, you're a blogger, and you are a podcast host yourself. So how do you manage all these things? What made you do all these things all at once?
Well, it is just an issue of interest. I have varied interests and I just pursue them.
That's great. That's great. And so, how did you make the shift from doing everything so professional to writing? Uh, this is also professional, but just be getting into the minds of children and writing for them.
Yeah, so the children's book is actually a very small part of my writing because a lot of my writing is actually scientific and medical and also stock market related, finance related.
Oh wow. Okay. So, the Game of War, the novel, we will
The
talk about
Germs of War.
Jewels of War. So sorry, Jewels of War. And how did the idea came to you?
Yeah, that is not a children's novel. That's actually a very grown up novel. So my father was in the Air Force, and I've been exposed to Army life pretty much all the time when I was growing up.
Uh-huh.
So I have this Army background, and then I was doing my PhD, and I realized how easy it would be to make biological weapons and use them. And so that's what the book is about. And so in 1997, I wrote this book about an attack on the US by terrorists based in Afghanistan using biological weapons. And then a few years later, 9/11 happened. And then pretty much shortly after that, those anthrax attacks took place in Washington, D.C. So all those things came together at the same time. I became a consultant to ABC News on their biological weapons program. And so that was how this whole story about germs of war came to be. And then since then, I've been writing a lot. Most of the time, my writing is about the stock market, finance, or medical related issues, especially some medical ethics related issues.
Still ethics related issues. So I have this question in my mind. You have we're talking regards to uh, patient health. How do you think, is it valid or is it good enough? And how much should we depend on that?
Yeah, that's one of the key questions is how much is too much and how much is enough? And, it doesn't matter which religion a person looks at, and all the religious books say the same thing, is that life is not meant to be, it doesn't go on forever. Everything has a start and an end. And
Mhm.
so most humans have to accept that our lives are limited. At some point, we have to go. But the medical profession seems to have a problem with that. They
Okay.
want to keep people alive all the time. So, for example, the whole concept of longevity, like keeping people alive forever, doing transplants or procedures on old people. It becomes a question of ethics as to are we doing the right thing or are we just doing it to make ourselves, doctors, feel better? Are we really doing it for patients?
Right. So, what is your take on longevity?
I think that everybody has to go at some point. So if you can live a long and happy life, to me, the quality of life is more important than quality of life. And so if you can live a happy life, spiritually happy, physically fit, exercise, eat properly. I don't believe in artificially sustaining people using all kinds of expensive therapies. And there are some very expensive therapies that cost $1 million a year. I mean, economically not viable. Our healthcare system is collapsing anyway. So, and we are spending 18% of our GDP on healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
and Medicare is running out of money, Medicaid is running out of money, and now with the Doge brothers coming in, Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, they're going to really start putting pressure on healthcare system to reduce waste, to reduce spending. So the question then becomes is how much is enough? When is enough enough? And I think the medical profession needs to deal with that.
Yes, that's right. When enough is enough. I usually talk to my students in the class like you have a gun in the hand in your hand. You have to see who you point it at.
Yeah,
Uh, you know,
yeah,
you kill a criminal or you kill a common, normal, innocent man.
yeah.
So it uh, even in the with the biotechnology, it is the same thing that how we use it. In fact, of every technology. And then, if I am talking about your biotech company, so would you like to talk about that? Tell us something about that.
Yeah, so I started three companies. The first company was by accident. One of I was actually working. I was consulting for Wyeth, the pharmaceutical company down in Collegeville area, and one of my friends wanted to have radiology reviews done outside of US because it's so expensive here. So I started a company in India to look at radiology films. So that's what my first company does. We look at radiology films in India for clinical studies. So it's called Blinded Radiology Reviews. So that was my first company. And
Oh,
that's still going on. We started in 2007. It's been 17 years. They're still going strong.
mhm.
Um, the second company I started was again by accident. I was consulting for Novartis at that time, and they had a product which they were trying to make better. And so I had an idea how to make it better, but they
Mhm.
were not too interested in my idea. So I said, I'm pretty convinced it's a good idea. So I started my own company, my
Ah,
own biotech company. And so we are now going into phase three studies for osteoarthritis, for treatment of osteoarthritis. And osteoarthritis, there's no treatment, there's only pain management. So we
yes.
are hoping to be the first one to treat osteoarthritis. So that was the other one. And then the third company was also by accident. I was working.
Happy
I was
accident.
I was working with a couple of physicians assistants who were in the cosmetics area, and they had a concept, and so I improved on the concept. We founded a company for cosmetics, and we
Mhm.
did clinical trials, showed that our products for hair loss and for acne are better than pretty much anything on the market. And so that was the third company.
Oh, that's great. So, from reading the films, radiology to making cosmetics, that's a pretty big, wide. What was, if we go back to the research thing? So, you said you're quite interested in ethical research in the medical field. So, what do you think we lack here in the United States, or more generally in the world, that we see so much sickness? It's completely true. It's completely true that we have less number of uh, pandemics or epidemics, but at the same time, we have increased the age, but the age related these things, diseases are making the humanity suffer. So, and you say longevity is like it should be limited in a way. It should not, we should go rely completely on longevity medicine.
Yeah.
So, how do you put the two things together?
Well, what has happened is that humans till about 1800s had a pretty short lifespan, right? We used
Yeah.
to live about 40, 50 years, and that was about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of age-related because people probably died from infectious diseases, polio, tuberculosis, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
rather than coronary artery disease, cancer, etc. Those, I mean, you have to live long enough to be able to suffer from that. So now that people are living long, they are experiencing all those diseases of age-related issues that they didn't have it before. So yeah, we are living longer, but are we any healthier? I don't know.
Mm. So, is it good to make the humanity suffer, or we should take a step ahead to be the gods?
See,
And
that is the key ethical issue, and I have written an article on that. Is I don't think we should play God. We have to accept our own limitations at some point.
Mhm.
So if you look at it, let's say we somehow magically could cure all diseases, all illnesses, and everybody could live forever. The
Mhm.
earth is not big enough. It doesn't have the resources for all people to live forever. Where are we going to put the garbage? And how people go to finance their lives? I mean, you have to keep working for eternity, right?
Yes.
How else can you afford to live for eternity? You keep working all the time. So, I mean, there are all those other issues that people don't think about, but there are very serious consequences of prolonging life for a long time.
Exactly. And the earth is like already so much pressurized with all like under pressure for the resources and everything. So what would
Yeah,
we do to stop dying?
yeah, because there are many estimates that we are going to run out of iron ore, for example, in 30 years. There'll be no iron left. So where are we going to build stuff from? And some of the other rare metals are going to be gone in 10 years. So everybody's jumping on this electronic EV bandwagon, but the resource will be gone. There'll be no molybdenum. There'll be no titanium. None of that stuff will be left. Even with recycling, it's not going to be there. That's why they talk about mining meteorites. You know, you have to go all the way to the meters to get these minerals, but those are not going to be easy or cheap.
Yeah, that's right. There'll be more pressure on resources than if I relate it to the uh, longevity thing. And
Mhm.
then it would be like mm, uh, there would be more pressure on resources and it would be more pressure on the human beings themselves. Like
Yes,
an ethical issue I often think about when I think about longevity thing. I think that how many people would be there? People will keep on taking birth and not dying.
right.
How would we manage it?
We can't. There'll be no room left for people to even walk.
Yeah. Okay. And what is we are expecting to have? We are waiting to have the new president take his office, and he is talking about several things like uh, immigration and tariffs and so many things. So,
Yeah.
if I would ask you, like, what is your take on all this? What is your viewpoint about all this? So,
Yeah. So the whole issue of immigration has is related to two issues. One is the perceived inequality of the system, where people think that people who don't deserve to be here are here, and the
yes,
other is related to crime. When someone who's an illegal immigrant commits a crime, well, it becomes a bigger issue than if someone who was, a U.S. citizen commits a crime. So those are the main two driving factors why there's been so much uproar about illegal immigration. But when I look at it from a financial point of view, out of the 11 million illegal immigrants, about 8.5 are employed, paying taxes.
hmm
And so when if they stop paying taxes, if we deport 11 million people, I don't know how they will even do it, but let's assume they do it somehow, which will be a very expensive endeavor, but let's assume they do it. The tax receipts for the US government are going to go down. And we have a $35 trillion deficit. It will just become worse because the
hmm
taxes go down. The other
right,
thing is that immigrants do some of that legal people do, like the farms, taking care of the farms. Who's going to do that?
yeah, in
So
the country,
we will not have any strawberries. We won't have any lettuce. We're going to go back to importing again from other countries because our farmers are quite openly saying this, that without these immigrants we can't run the farms. I mean, you can use the combine and harvester for corn and wheat and stuff like that, but you can for vegetables and you cannot for things like spinach and lettuce.
like the whole economy is gonna suffer a lot
Yes,
when
it will suffer.
these immigrants are out. And what do you think this wave of uh, 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 blaming everything on immigrants? I'm sure they do good things also, and there must be some backlashes also. But most of the time, it is they do good. They have the Google CEO, the Microsoft CEO, and there's so many people in good positions. They are so educated, and they're immigrants, and they
Yeah,
do
Elon
good.
Musk is an immigrant himself.
Yeah. So how is this thing when these brainy people are going to go away? So,
Yeah. Trump actually, I'll give him credit for this. Has He wants to keep people who have graduate degrees here. He
okay.
actually, his plan is to, he says anybody who has graduated from college should get a green card. So he wants to keep people who have graduate degrees. He wants to keep people who have jobs here.
Hmm.
His main gripe is against the illegal immigrants. But what I was pointing out is that illegal immigrants are also very important for the economy. Whether
Exactly.
whether you like it or not, it's just a hard reality. And in
Yeah.
some parts of especially the South in California, those farms will just go under without illegal immigrants. And the same in Florida.
Mm, that's right. That's very much true. So, what affect these policies of this we're talking about that they are going to affect us economically, right? So,
Yeah. So
what? Uh-huh.
one is for the illegal immigration. The other one, big one, is for me is about the whole issue of tariffs.
Hmm.
There was a depression in 1929, and there are many causes of the depression. There was a stock market crash. There was the whole Southwest became dry. It was a drought, a huge drought. The third reason was there were two Republican congressmen, Smoot and Hawley.
Hmm.
They created an act called Smoot-Hawley Act that
Hmm.
put tariffs on other countries. So the
Yeah.
other countries basically retaliated with tariffs of their own, and international trade came to a halt. And if Trump does tariffs, Canada and Mexico have already said we will retaliate. China has already said we will retaliate. So if
Mm,
everybody puts tariffs on everybody else, trade will come to a halt. And
yeah.
who pays the tariffs? You and I do. It's not China who's going to pay the tariffs. So let's say we buy something from Amazon that costs $100, and if there's 100% tariff, that's going to cost $200. And you and I will pay it. China's not going to pay it.
Yeah.
So
That's
inflation will go up. Inflation will go up both because of lack of labor, because if those 11 million people are deported, there'll be lack of labor, which puts price pressure, and then
mhm,
also because of the tariffs.
yes. That's true. And labor is going to become very costly, and as a result, the prices are going to increase. Today only, I was reading somewhere the eggs are now $3. So $3 a dozen, and it's already showing the effect on what we have, what we they are becoming. Uh, their purchasing power is decreasing in that way.
Yes. Yep.
So it's definitely gonna affect everyone in the long run as well, and more so because tariffs are like, we increase the tariffs, they would increase their tariffs, or they would remove their items from imports and exports. So it's a never ending game, I guess.
Yeah, that's what happened during the Great Depression. People kept doing that, and ultimately trade came to a halt.
Yeah, true. That's very much like that. And Dr. Desai, thank you for coming with us. And you have given us such a beautiful insight into what we can and we should do, uh, in case of AI, then in case of immigration and the policies about the tariff and all that. So, what would you like to say to those people who still are doing things who have the potential to do more. I'm not talking about the retired people, completely retired from life, but those who are actually working and they want to do something more in their lives. So, being an all rounder yourself, what would you
You follow your passion. Really. If